she'll surprise you. She's complicated. More like a person than a dog, really. Complex emotions and all that." "Like a person," I repeated. I wasn't in the right state of mind to make a decision of this magnitude. My blood sugar was low. I was getting shaky. "How old is she?" "Hard to say. Young. Maybe a year, 2. He lifted her lip so I could see her teeth. "Never had a single accident, though she's thrown up a few times. Looked like bile, mostly. Sometimes she gets this gagging thing going." Harry Davidson put his hand up to his throat and flitted it about. "She gags a lot?" "Not too bad. I think it's just nerves. I have to tell you," he said, leaning in so I could smell the coffee on his breath, "Layla's always been my favorite." "What's your wife's name?" I asked. "What?" "Your wife." He took a step toward me, and I took one back. "What do you want to know about my wife for?" He turned and looked at the house. "I was just making conversation." "That's a strange way to make conversation, buddy," he said. "Asking the name of somebody's wife like that out of the blue." "I know a Davidson." "Uh-huh," he said. "Her name's Sally." "My wife isn't Sally. There's no Sally here. So, about the dog," he said. "Let's get back to dogs." "How many do you have?" 14 before I started downsizing, mostly small ones. I've got to get rid of all but the hypoallergenic." He was speaking slowly now, looking at me like he had no idea what I might do. He wouldn't be surprised if I started jumping up and down on one foot or took out a knife and jabbed at him. We continued talking about his dogs and how he'd come to have so many, a litter here, a stray there, until Harry Davidson wasn't bristled any longer. He was smiling when he said, "Oh, yeah, she's really taken to you." There was nothing in the dog's behavior to substantiate this. "I named her after the song. Eric Clapton was in love with George Harrison's wife, and it's about this woman. I think her name was Patty, or was it Debbie? It wasn't Layla, anyhow. He ended up marrying the girl, though Harrison wasn't too broke up about it. He even went to the wedding. It didn't last, though." He shook his head, and I waited for him to say something like "they never do," but he spared me that. After that, we stood there and observed Layla together. She didn't look particularly smart or energetic or interested in me. In other words, she wasn't anything you might want in a dog. I thought about the dogs I'd had as a boy, a pack of wild animals that weren't allowed inside the house. Occasionally, if the mood struck, if my mother had made pancakes that morning, I'd toss them into the air to watch them jump. Then I'd close the door and forget about them. And then I thought about Ellen's dog, a small, nervous thing with wiry hair and a burnt caramel color. "She's a good one," he said. "One of the best." That was a stupid thing to say, and I felt like pointing out how stupid it was. I didn't care for this man. I liked the idea of training his dog, though, the things I might teach her to do. Perhaps she really could get my paper in the mornings. That would be something for the neighbors to see. "I don't want to pressure you," he said, "but I've got some burgers I need to flip." "Oh, I doubt that." "It's something people say," he said, "a figure of speech. I have things to do." I wanted the dog, but I didn't like the idea of doing him any favors, and I certainly didn't want him to think he'd talked me into it. "Well," I said, and I paused for much longer than either of us was comfortable with. I opened my mouth and closed it again, really challenging myself. Harry Davidson coughed. Then he narrowed his eyes and started shaking his head. Finally, I said, "I think this is the one for me." "Oh, yeah."